Discover the incredible life-changing moment when my grandmother was exposed to love at a wedding. Emma's heart swelled as she watched the decorations come to life, just as vibrant and colorful as her granddaughter's spirit. She could feel the excitement buzzing in the air, the mingling of family, and the anticipation of love. But beneath the joyful chatter and laughter, shadows loomed, old wounds and unspoken tensions ready to surface during her granddaughter's wedding celebration. Emma, a spirited 70-year-old matriarch of their tight-knit Midwestern town, felt the weight of her family's expectations pressing against her. After a lifetime shaped by hardship and unwavering family values, she stood at the crux of tradition and change. As her relatives filled the vibrant hall, Emma's thoughts drifted back to the one love she lost, swirling in memories of a summer romance that bloomed and withered against the backdrop of World War II. The thrill of uncertainty clung to her heart even after all these years, just like the scent of lilacs from her youth. She felt a tightness in her chest, a part of her still yearning for what could have been. That love had forged her resilience, a legacy she held dear to inspire her family. Jake, her grandson, stood off to the side, eyes downcast. He had poured his heart into his artwork, but the looks of dismissal from relatives made him feel like a stranger among his own. Emma's protective instincts surged. She leaned closer, brush strokes of passion lighting up her eyes. "You create beauty with your hands, Jake," she whispered fiercely, "that's worth more than gold." She remembered her own struggles and wanted him to know that love, whether for art or family, outshone wealth. Before she could rally the crowd behind Jake, she caught the sound of laughter that felt too familiar. Turning her head, a moment of disbelief washed over her. There stood George, her old flame from decades past, the one who left too soon, leaving behind echoes of what might have been. The years melted away in an instant, and she was a young girl again, laughing at the very same type of wedding reception, lost in hope and dreams. The music swelled around them, laughter intertwining with love, filling Emma with warmth as they shared stories. Yet, the joy created a stark contrast to the whispers of dissent lurking just outside their circle. The tension boiled as some family members confronted Jake, dismissing his dreams in favor of more conventional pursuits. It unleashed a torrent of unspoken prejudices that ignited something fierce within Emma. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Emma felt her pulse quicken, the moment felt monumental. She clenched her fists and raised her chin. What good is family if we cannot support one another's dreams? Her words hung heavy in the air, breaking the tension like thunder, a challenge that echoed with promise. A reminder that love takes many shapes, and courage was essential in nurturing it. As she locked eyes with George across the room, they exchanged knowing smiles that sparked hope within her. Could love mend her fractured family? Would they finally redraw the lines of understanding? Emma felt both hopeful and uncertain, peace mingling with the restoration of her heart, asking herself if the shadows of the past would ever release their grasp. Emma's heart raced, the air thick with anticipation as she faced her family. The laughter faded into a murmur and all eyes turned to her, curious about her challenge. She felt the weight of judgment, but it shouldered her determination. "We all have gifts," she declared, her voice steady. "We should be lifting each other up, not tearing each other down." Jake, who had been drifting through a sea of doubt, perked up at her words. The flicker of approval struck a match in his heart. Emma noticed the change in him, the way he straightened his back and held his chin high. She could sense that hope was beginning to settle in. It was just a glimmer, but it was there, yet the moment was still precarious. Emma's cousin, Ruth, stood with arms crossed, skepticism written across her face. "That sounds great in theory, Emma, but what about Jake's future? An artist? Really?" Her voice dripped with condescension, the undertones of judgment slicing through the warmth of the moment. Emma felt an old flame ignite within her, one that longed for validation, not just for herself but for Jake, too. "What about your daughter? She wanted to study theater, but you pushed her towards accounting," she shot back, her heart pounding, fueled by a mix of pride and regret. We all make choices, but we should stand behind those we love in those choices. The atmosphere thickened, tension hanging like a cloud overhead. George, standing at the periphery of the interaction, admired Emma's bravery. During their years apart, he had watched her, revered her strength. Now, witnessing her fierce protection of her family felt like a second chance, a chance to rekindle something beautiful, something real. Across the hall, Jake hesitated at first but then spoke against the rising clamor. "I love art," he declared, his voice echoing slightly off the walls. "It's not just a hobby, it's who I am. I can't be something I'm not just to fit in." The silence that fell after his words was almost deafening, and a collective breath was drawn. Caught in the throes of turmoil, Ruth was poised to respond, but George stepped forward. "Remember who we are," he said, looking around the gathered crowd. "Art is as vital as any profession. It inspires, connects, and heals. Shouldn't we encourage the ones we love to chase what inspires them?" The shift was palpable. Family members exchanged glances, the storm clouds beginning to recede. Emma's spirit lifted further. Perhaps tonight would be a turning point, a patchwork of understanding woven together by shared experiences. But then Jake pushed forward, his own heart pounding. "Can we take a moment, please?" he called, hesitating as some family members shifted awkwardly. "I want to show you something." Emma didn't know what he meant, but curiosity washed over the crowd, their laughter receding as they waited together. Jake grabbed his sketchbook from his bag and took a deep breath. As he flipped to a page, Emma could almost feel the electric connection, passion radiating from her grandson like warmth from the sun. "Everyone, this is my vision of our family," Jake began, his voice trembling slightly. "I want to share it with you." And before he could reveal the piece that held his heart, a shadow swept over the gathering, twisting the moment with a hint of unease. Whispers started, a chill drifting through the crowd. Emma's heart quickened again, the uncertainty returning. What was lurking just beyond their moment of unity? Would Jake's revelation bring them closer or tear them apart again? Emma couldn't shake the feeling that the evening was about to take a different turn. Jake's fingers trembled as he held the pages of his sketchbook. The energy around them shifted, a potent mix of hope and fear charged the air. Emma barely noticed the whispers growing, the excited chatter of uncertainty swirling in the room. All she focused on was Jake. His passion was contagious, yet a strange weight hung above their heads. "Just a second," he murmured, eyes scanning the crowd. The uncertainty echoed back at him. Was he ready for this? Each member of the family held expectations he felt pressing down upon him like heavy stones. But there was something deeper at stake here, the desire for acceptance, the need for understanding. With a purposeful inhale, he flipped the sketchbook open, revealing an intricate drawing that stretched across 2 pages. The room fell still. Emma's heart raced as she leaned forward. There, captured on the paper, was a stunning array of vibrant colors and bold lines, a representation of everything he had ever felt about family, love, and the conflicting loyalties that danced within them. "Here it is," Jake said, voice stronger now, sort of igniting with the very energy bottled within that art. "This is us, all together, even despite our differences." Gasps echoed through the crowd. Excitement coiled through Emma as she studied the vivid faces and moments depicted on the page. Each stroke told a story: laughter, tears, shared meals, birthdays, and quarrels. Most astonishing of all, there were figures and symbols intertwined, encapsulating the moments that had built their history, those moments that held them together despite their flaws. "I wanted you to see what I see," Jake continued, his hand gesturing animatedly as he spoke. "We're more than our careers or choices. We're a tapestry of experiences and emotions, woven tighter by love and forgiveness." Someone coughed, shattering the silence, but not the spell Jake had cast over the room. Emma felt time hang still. This was a moment of clarity. Then Ruth broke the silence, her skepticism dissolving into an expression Emma had never seen on her cousin's face before, a mixture of awe and reflection. "Jake," she whispered, blinking back disbelief. "This is beautiful." The crowd murmured in agreement, almost hesitantly. As the moments unfurled, something shifted. The din of discontent grew quiet, the laughter replaced by thoughtful nods and murmurs. Some family members moved closer, crowding around to see the artwork, and one by one, it seemed like their barriers were crumbling, replaced by the warmth radiating from Jake's passionate expression. Tears welled in Emma's eyes as she saw the exchange of glances and tentative smiles. Her heart brimmed with pride, her mind racing with the realization this needed to be said. None of this means anything if we don't support each other, Emma implored, glancing at each family member, her conviction palpable. We owe it to ourselves to lift each other up, just as Jake reminded us. The room hesitated, the tension still lingering like a stubborn fog. But hope danced through the air, and Emma could feel something beginning to shift. Then, out of the corner of her eye, she caught George step forward, determination etched across his face. We need to embrace what makes us unique, he said loudly enough for everyone to hear, searching the faces in front of him. Isn't that what family's about? Just as the tide was starting to turn, the door swung open abruptly, the cool winter air sweeping into the gathered group. The sudden gust sent a shiver down Emma's spine. A stranger stood there, eyes wide with surprise, someone from the past. Is this the Johnson family reunion? The stranger called out, breaking the moment of unity. Emma's blood ran cold as she locked eyes with Ruth, fear creeping in again. Who was this person, and how would they affect the delicate balance they had just begun to restore? Emma's heart pounded as she took a step towards the door, her shoes tapping lightly on the wooden floor. The room was now a cacophony of voices, the earlier quiet replaced by confusion and whispers. She glanced at Jake, who had turned, eyes widened, facing the uninvited guest. Something was off, she could feel it deep in her bones. Who are you? She heard Ruth ask, her voice shaky but full of defiance. The stranger stepped into the light, revealing a face that bore an uncanny resemblance to familiar features. It was a jarring mix of nostalgia and dread. I'm Sam, the visitor said, voice steady. I'm your cousin. Gasps erupted once more. Emma's heart sank. How could this be? She had never heard of a Sam in the family, yet there was something genuine in the stranger's eyes. The room, once buzzing with the warmth of unity, now swelled with uncertainty. Jake looked back at Emma, seeking assurance. She offered a small nod, but panic was creeping in. Sam took a cautious step inside, the weight of the moment pressing down like a storm cloud. I know I wasn't invited, he continued, glancing around at the skeptical gazes. But I felt I needed to be here. I've missed so much and I wanted to reconnect. Reconnect? George shot back, fists clenched. We don't even know you. Yes, but maybe you should, Sam replied, a hint of desperation threading through his calm demeanor. I've spent years figuring out where I belong. I didn't even know about this reunion until just last week. Wouldn't you want to know why I wasn't here? The question hung in the air. Emma felt the collective tension, heavy and suffocating. She could see Ruth's defenses soften, just slightly, and that was something. Sam's presence was turning the tide yet again. What could possibly warrant your absence? Ruth challenged, crossing her arms defiantly. Emma could see the way Sam's eyes flickered with hurt, but he steeled himself and spoke with sincerity. Family is complicated. I had to step away for a while. I needed to understand who I was away from the shadows of expectation. Word by word, he seemed to chip away at the distance between him and the family. Emma shifted closer to Jake, feeling a stronger pull toward their shared mission of understanding and acceptance. Jake just showed us how powerful connection can be, Emma said, her voice cutting through the tension. Maybe Sam's here to show us that we can still find love and support, even from unexpected places. Sam's face lit up, as if her words offered him a lifeline. I just want to be a part of something, he said, sincerity washing over his features. To finally be included. Murmurs of uncertainty darted around the room, but Emma felt a flicker of hope. Could this newcomer add to their tapestry instead of tearing it apart? As discussions erupted again, a mix of voices, some supportive, others hesitant, Emma could feel the walls surrounding Ruth starting to crumble. Just then, Sam withdrew something from his pocket. It was a small, vintage photograph, the edges worn but the faces glowing with happiness. "This is my mom," he said, holding it out, "your aunt. She spoke of you all often. I want you to have this." Emma's breath hitched. The photograph sparked curiosity, and she could see others shifting forward, drawn in by the promise of connection. As they gathered around, she caught the glance of Jake, whose expression mirrored her own curiosity and hope. At that moment, Emma realized that this reunion, already strained and uncertain, could be more than just a family gathering with its hidden tensions. This could be a chance to embrace new beginnings, to heal old wounds. But would everyone be willing? Suddenly, the weight of the moment seemed both fragile and filled with potential. As Sam began to share stories, transporting them into memories of laughter and love, a question lingered in the air. What secrets had been buried, and would unraveling the past bring them closer together or pull them apart? The room buzzed like a beehive, voices swirling around Sam as he shared snippets of his mother's life. Emma was captivated, clutching the vintage photograph as if it were a treasure. The faces in it seemed to leap from the paper, dancing in her mind. "I never knew her," Sam lamented, his voice softening. "But I've always felt a part of you just from stories." He looked over the faces in the room, searching for recognition, for connection. Someone spoke up, breaking through the emotional swell. What was her name? It was Jenna, the cousin who had always been the glue of the family. The air grew thick, and tensions dipped as people leaned in, eager to know more. "Marianne," Sam breathed out, and Emma's heart skipped a beat. The name echoed in her mind. It was one her grandmother whispered fondly, a name tied to family lore but shrouded in mystery. As Sam continued, painting the picture of a vibrant woman with a passion for life and laughter, Emma felt the sun flickering into her heart. His words brought her grandmother to life in a way she had only imagined. The idea of a bond stretching back, a thread weaving through time, filled Emma with warmth. "I remember the stories my mom told me." Sam's voice wavered. "How family means everything, how love can be complicated yet beautiful. I guess I've always wished I could have known that side of things." "This is all so unexpected," Ruth finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. The walls Emma had seen around her mother earlier were still there, but they were beginning to crack. "Why now?" Sam met Ruth's gaze, all vulnerability. "Because I've realized that family is about more than just blood. It's about belonging. I couldn't bear the thought of missing out on what could be on you." It was almost a plea, raw and sincere. "I spent years wondering if I was enough, or if I was just a shadow of what this family expected. I don't want to hide anymore." The weight of Sam's words settled over them like a gentle embrace. "Maybe we can all learn something about each other, share our stories and find out who we are together," Jake added, stepping into the growing emotion. His voice was steady, a beacon in the undercurrent of swirling feelings. Suddenly, Emma realized they were in uncharted waters, a bridge extending across years of silence, whispers, and what could have been. She glanced at the photograph, then at Sam, who was reaching for the love he hadn't had. A spark ignited Emma's spirit. This could be the start of something beautiful. She felt a rush of excitement, longing for connection, filled with hope as she looked at her family. "We can be each other's stories." Just then, a loud crash echoed from the kitchen. Everyone turned, startled, as a tray of drinks spilled to the floor, the noise cutting through their moment. "What was that?" George exclaimed, rushing towards the sound. The air shifted again, tension fraying as laughter erupted, the bond knitting tighter even through embarrassment. Emma followed, her heart racing not just from the commotion, but from the realization that they were on the brink of something profound. As they cleaned up the mess, she caught Sam's eye, his expression reflected her own anticipation. They were entering a new chapter, one filled with the unknown. An idea struck her then, a vision of connections widening beyond current definitions of family. But just as she moved to express it, she felt a tremor in the air, a lingering question that echoed louder than any of the previous noise. What would it take to truly welcome the unexpected into their lives, and could they handle the truths that were about to emerge? The laughter began to fade, replaced by an anxious silence as everyone gathered around the kitchen, staring at the spill on the floor as if it had become a strange centerpiece. Emma felt the air shift again, charged with a mix of excitement and apprehension. It was a moment where the past lingered like a ghost, and the present bristled with potential. Let us clean this up together, Jenna said, her voice ringing with warmth. She knelt beside the mess, and others quickly followed, getting involved with paper towels and nervous banter. In this shared act, Emma saw threads of connection weaving tighter, the laughter wrapping around them like a comforting shawl. As they worked, Emma caught snippets of conversation. George was joking about how it was purely intentional, an icebreaker to ease the tension. Sam smiled at that, something light in his eyes, but Emma also noted a flicker of something deeper. He was still processing his revelation, still navigating the waters of rediscovered family. What will we do next? Emma whispered to Sam as they crouched together, patting the soaked towels against the floor. Her heart raced, feeling more connected to him than ever. How do we build on this? I think we start talking, he said, glancing around the room. About everything. All the things we've held back. His expression was earnest, filled with both hope and uncertainty. And maybe find ways to honor those who aren't here anymore. Like my mom. Emma's heart sank a little. Sadness lingered just beneath the surface of joy, reminding her of all that was lost. We could share memories, write them down, or even create something, together. The suggestion felt fragile, but it floated out into the group, sparking curiosity. Like a family tree? Ruth chimed in, her eyes brightening. We could map out relationships, stories, living histories instead of dusty memories. That could be incredible, Jake said. It's like we're peering through a window into one another's lives. Ideas began spilling forth, everyone chipping in, voices rising again. The clatter of utensils and laughter blended like a melody in the air, creating a symphony of connection. Emma felt her fears turn into excitement. Each voice added color to the black and white portrait of their family history, but somewhere deep inside, a nagging thought whispered the truths they were reaching to uncover would not all be easy to hear. The history they shared could be as fragile as the old photograph Emma had been clutching so tightly. What if revealing these stories opened old wounds? She leaned into Sam, feeling a bond between them grow stronger. What if we dig too deep? He glanced down, his brow furrowed for a moment. Then we deal with it together. It's about understanding, right? We can't walk on eggshells forever. Emma felt a surge of admiration for him. He was brave, diving headfirst into unknown waters. The group around them had softened, their earlier intensity now a warm hum of curiosity and hope. Besides, Jenna added with a chuckle, if we find out some wild family secret, I want to be the first to know. The laughter erupted again, filling the space until it felt almost sacred, reverberating through the walls. This was family. Not just walls of blood and obligation, but the connections they were weaving in that moment, just as Emma began to envision their tasks ahead, the stories, the memories, the uncertainties. A sudden heaviness filled the room. The back door creaked open, and in walked a figure that sent shockwaves through the gathering. Mom? Sam's voice cracked, disbelief etched across his face as he stared at the woman silhouetted against the light, her presence a stark reminder of unresolved tension. What had just entered their moment of unity could change everything. Emma's heart raced as she felt the air shift once more. A storm teetered on the horizon, and there would be no escaping it now. How would they face this disruption, and what truths might flow with this new arrival? The woman in the doorway took a cautious step inside, the unease crackling like static. Emma felt the room collectively hold its breath. Sam's expression, once bright with anticipation, transformed into a mask of disbelief, grappling with layers of emotion he had yet to unpack. Sam, the woman's voice trembled, rich with years of unsaid words. Emma recognized the pain of that tone, a mixture of longing and uncertainty. It was the kind of voice that carried scars of history, much like the old photograph Emma had held on to so tightly. Mom? Sam whispered again, as if testing a fragile thread of reality. Emma could see his heart battling his mind. He wanted to run to her, but fear pinned him to his spot. The others shifted awkwardly, eyes darting between the mother and son, not quite knowing how to navigate this sudden change. Jenna fiddled nervously with the edge of her sweater, clearly torn between wanting to support Sam and the weight of confronting this unexpected visitor. I saw you were all here, she said, glancing around the room and meeting Emma's eyes for a split moment. There was recognition there, but also a veil of something more regret, perhaps? Why now? Sam's voice wavered, a slight edge of anger lacing through his disbelief. After all this time, why show up now? Emma's heart pounded in her chest. The air felt thick, heavier than before, tightening around them. She looked for support in the room, finding Ruth's wide eyes searching for answers as well. Because I wanted to see you. The woman faltered, a wave of vulnerability washing over her. Emma could sense the struggle within her, the desire to connect battling the hesitance learned through years of absence. Save it, Sam interrupted, a hurt look flashing across his face. You left me. The pain behind his words struck Emma deeply. Please, let me explain. There was a plea in the woman's eyes, something raw and human, just beneath the surface of their history. Emma sensed the room shifting once more, turning the focus from the gleaming laughter to echoing shadows of the past. This moment had the power to unravel everything they had started to build. The warmth of connection they had just established now felt fragile. Maybe we should all sit down, Jenna suggested, the weight of the situation causing her usual buoyancy to falter. She stepped back, retreating a little as she tried to create a buffer, a safe space for the brewing confrontation. Or maybe, we should talk about what really matters, George said softly, trying to ease the tension. But Emma could feel the undercurrent of anxiety whip through their little circle. Sam's expression was a conundrum, battling between anger and a flicker of hope. What matters to you now? You've been absent all this time. How do I know this isn't just another trick? His words crushed the air around them. Emma's heart ached for Sam, for the little boy he had once been who just wanted a mother's love. She reached out and placed her hand on his shoulder, hoping to ground him, to remind him he wasn't alone in this moment. She looked at the woman. It's not an easy thing to return, Emma said, the gravity of her words weighing heavily. But if you want a chance, you have to show us who you are now, not just who you were then. A glance passed between Sam and the woman, filled with complexities too deep to unravel at that very moment. Emma held her breath, waiting for some answer, some shift in the tides. Just as the tension began to ease slightly, Sam's phone buzzed loudly, shattering the silence. With a furrowed brow, he glanced at the screen, confusion etched on his face. Emma couldn't shake the feeling that whatever was happening now might just be the beginning of an unraveling pattern. What if this isn't just our family's history? He murmured, barely audible, as he turned the screen toward her. The message glowed ominously. We need to talk about your father. Emma's heart stopped, the pulse of uncertainty echoing within her. What else was about to surface? With every revelation, the room felt a little more like a melting pot of secrets. Sam's eyes widened, his breath hitching in the back of his throat as he stared at the phone. Emma leaned closer, the glowing screen casting a pale light on their faces. Her heart thudded wildly against her chest, the message, a door swinging open to a past that felt too heavy to lift. Who is that? Sam asked, his voice a murmur that barely broke the silence, sharp and edged with confusion. Emma could feel the tension coil around them again, tighter than before. The woman's expression vacillated between shock and fear, as if the truth were a double-edged sword threatening to cut them all. It's probably a mistake, the woman said, her voice faltering, but Emma could see the truth tugging at her. It's not a mistake until you say what you know, Sam shot back, his anger boiling to the surface again. The boy he once was seemed to clash with the man he had become, creating a tension Emma could almost touch. Maybe our father's involved in this, Emma suggested cautiously, her mind racing. She took a risk, her gut churning as soon as the words left her lips. What could it all mean? Please, let us not do this here. Not like this, the woman breathed, her eyes darting around the room as if searching for an escape. What's this really about? Sam pressed, his voice rising. Are we going to talk about the past or keep hiding behind it? Maybe this isn't the right time, Jenna interjected, her anxious tone unsuccessfully trying to calm the gathering storm. The fragile peace they had shared now shattered, leaving jagged edges that could cut. No, Sam said firmly, his resolve hardening. If there is something we need to know now. Emma felt a wave of empathy wash over her for Sam. She squeezed his shoulder tighter, grounding him in that moment. "Let us just take a breath," she said, trying to fill the space with calm. "But if there are truths out there, we need to expose them." The woman took a step forward, her own fears battling with the desperation to be understood. "I want to tell you everything, but it's complicated." Your father, her voice trailed off, as if the name carried unspeakable weight. "Every day he left, every day I thought about you," she continued, her eyes glistening with tears. "But I was scared. Scared of what would happen if I came back, scared of him." "What do you mean?" "Scared of Dad?" Sam sounded bewildered, and Emma's heart ached even more. She could feel the walls of their family history starting to shift, revealing shadows they had always accepted as the norm. "That's just the start of it," Jenna exclaimed, her brows knitted in anxiety. "The more we dig, the more connected we become to things we thought were left behind." "Shut up," Sam shouted back, his voice echoing off the walls. "Just tell us what we need to know." The woman flinched, retreating slightly. Emma stepped in closer, keeping her focus on Sam. "Sam, we need to hear her. We need to understand." His eyes met hers, full of desperation and anger. He was caught in a snare of emotions that no one could untangle but him. As the tension peaked, their surroundings dimmed, thoughts going a mile a minute. Emma realized that this was about far more than just a reunion. This was about secrets that lived among them, ready to unfurl and expose the scars they bore. The woman took a deep breath, steadied herself, and said, "What I'm about to tell you will change everything." The air thickened as she began to speak, but Emma's thoughts swam in uncertainty. What could be waiting for them on the other side of the truth? And as the room fell into a charged stillness, Emma felt the need for clarity like a desperate prayer. Would they find the answers they craved, or would they stumble into more shadows than they were ready to face? The woman hesitated, her eyes darting back and forth between Emma and Sam. Moments stretched taut like a drawn bowstring, and Emma could sense the heft of what was about to unfold, the weight of all that time and distance. "My name is Rachel," she finally managed, the name hanging in the air like a ghost. "Your mother, she was my sister." Sam's lips parted slightly, the world around them briefly falling away. "My mother?" he repeated, disbelief lacing each word. Emma felt her heart quicken, a mix of hope and fear swirling inside her. Rachel nodded, a simple motion that seemed to resonate with the resonance of lost years. "I left when you both were young. Your father, he was complicated. I was scared. I never wanted to put you in danger." The room felt colder, as if the revelations had drawn the warmth away. Emma glanced at Sam, watching as emotions rippled across his face. Confusion, heartbreak, betrayal, they all played their part in a chaotic dance. She squeezed his shoulder again. He needed grounding amid this storm. "What do you mean by complicated?" Sam pressed, his voice thick. "What did he do?" Rachel looked down, and Emma could see the pain etched on her face. "He had his demons. His anger, it was explosive. I didn't want you to witness that. I thought it was best to disappear." She paused, wiping away a tear. "But leaving meant losing you both. It was the hardest decision of my life." Sam inhaled sharply. "So you let him take us? You left us with him?" "No," Rachel exclaimed, stepping forward, her hands raised as if to block his accusation. "I thought I was protecting you. I thought if I went away, he'd leave you alone. I didn't know how deep his darkness ran." Shivers danced down Emma's spine, wrapping around her like a cold fist. The fear, the pain, the abandonment, it hit her with a punch of familiarity. She wanted to reach out to Rachel, to comfort her, but Sam was still processing. "What kind of darkness?" he demanded, anger boiling in him once again, but the hurt flickered in his eyes, softening it just a touch. Rachel's voice trembled. "It wasn't just anger. He had connections, enemies. It felt like a trap. I never wanted to pull you both into that life. But I regret it every day." Emma felt the impending storm of frustration surge inside Sam, urging him to retreat, to hide from the truth. And now you come back? After all this time? His voice cracked slightly, betraying the shadow of vulnerability hidden beneath the layers of anger. I wanted to protect you then, and I want to protect you now. I need you to understand there's more. There are still people searching for you. For your father, Rachel whispered, her eyes filling with urgency. And if you don't know your past, you want to be prepared for what is coming. Sam frowned, caught between a desire to flee and a desperate yearning for unraveling the truth. Emma's heart raced. How could they face these unseen shadows without understanding their origins? Prepared for what? Sam's voice wavered again, filled with rising dread. Rachel's gaze bore into them. For the truth that your father buried and for the family he stole from you. At that moment, the enormity of their history crashed around them. Emma felt the floor shift beneath her feet, as if the very foundation of everything they knew was crumbling away, revealing paths they never wanted to walk. She could see that Sam needed her now more than ever, yet there was a door swinging open, revealing darkness coated in layers of pain. A part of her whispered for clarity, but another part recoiled at the potential fallout. Will you trust me? Rachel asked, her voice breaking. I promise I won't let you go unprepared this time. Emma glanced at Sam, their eyes locking in unwritten understanding. Could they take another step forward into all the unknown? And just like that, the battle inside them both raged on, as the remnants of the past loomed large in the shadow of the truth. What would they uncover next, and could any of them truly be ready for it? The air in the room buzzed with tension as Emma and Sam faced Rachel, a whirlwind of confused emotions swirling around them. The once vibrant celebration of family had morphed into a storm of secrets and unspoken histories, laying heavy on their hearts. Let us just take a minute, Emma's voice rang out, trying to anchor the moment, hoping to quench the fiery emotions swirling within Sam. You came back to share what you didn't know then. That takes courage, Rachel. A flicker of sincerity passed between Emma and Rachel, a silent agreement that echoed with the understanding of losses gone too long without recognition. But Sam remained rooted in his confusion. Courage? He scoffed, fists clenched. You think disappearing for years and showing up out of the blue is courageous? Rachel hesitated, the weight of regret visibly pressed against her chest. It's confusing and hurtful, Sam continued, his voice edged with raw pain. You left us in the worst possible places. Emma interjected, her heart pounding but resolute. And it seems like there are patterns repeating here, Sam. What if facing this family legacy helps you step out of the shadows instead of being lost in them? Her eyes darted between Rachel and Sam, willing them to see the thread tying them together. Lost in the shadows? Rachel's voice spilled out sharp yet trembling. That's exactly what I didn't want for you. I thought fighting for you meant leaving you behind. Maybe not, Emma said softly, her gaze steady on Sam. Maybe this is the moment we all need to rise up and be better together. It's about acknowledging what happened and finding peace and understanding. The air shifted again, a collective breath drawn as doubt began to flutter away. Sam shifted uncomfortably but didn't pull back his gaze from Rachel's own. Rachel stepped closer, eyes glistening. I'm so sorry for everything. I aimed to save you, but I see now that maybe I was just running away from my own fears. Slowly, Sam's rigidity softened, and a flicker of empathy crept in. Fear doesn't excuse forgetting us. I know, Rachel replied, her words earnest. But I want to fix that. I want to share the truth about your father and why it was safest for everyone that I left. With each word, Emma saw the layers of pain lift just a little, revealing tiny glimmers of hope. She thought they were entering a migratory path, moving towards something more potent, a world where healing could thrive. But what would they need to carry forward? Their essay history I kept hidden to protect you, Rachel swallowed hard, her voice stronger now. Your father, he wasn't who you think he was. There are so many elements that influenced his choices. What do you mean? Sam questioned, confusion still knitted across his features, his heart caught between the desire for knowing and the fear of sorrow. Let me explain, Rachel continued, her breath shaky but determined. The darker side of our family isn't just something I wanted to shield you from. it's part of an unsettling legacy. But knowing it could also give you some control over your future. Emma saw a softening in Sam. Could he feel the enormity of connection blooming? Look, Sam said, the tremor of vulnerability cracking through the uncertainty. I want to understand why things fell apart. But I need to trust that you're being honest. I promise, Rachel said, her voice rich with emotion. Let me show you that despite endings, there can be beginnings. A fragile silence settled over the room, the air still vibrating with the threads of shared histories. Emma knew that while Sam hungered for acceptance and acknowledgement, they were embarking on a path neither could fully comprehend. Then let us do this. Sam's resolve solidified, and within, Emma felt a shift. Let us write our stories, find clarity, and hold our truths up as something more beautiful than the shadows they cast. Suddenly, that sentiment ignited a fire within. Emma looked around the room, her family's faces illuminated by the flickering hope of newfound connection. In that moment, the complexity of their histories transformed into something tangible, an anchor, guiding them forward. Let us embrace everything together, Emma implored, her voice overflowing with warmth. Because in the end, love conquers fear. We want to be brave enough to redefine family. The shifting current seemed to assure them all, and gradually, nods of agreement flickered like stars awakening in the sky above them. I'd like to draw another family tree, Jake's voice rang out, breaking the silence, an invitation swimming in the laughter rolling over them. This time I want our shared stories woven through it, not just dates and names. Larry shot forward, eyes lighting up with an uncontrollable glee. And I want to cook for it. He shouted, a real family feast to remember it all. As laughter returned, the shadows faded into the background. The electricity in the air buzzed with promise, the stories yet to be shared, the moments left to experience, the hearts left to heal. Sharing histories became moments of joy, as if they were lighting candles within a dark room and illuminating every crevice that had once been lost. The questions surrounding them morphed into reassurances. As Emma watched Sam and Rachel draw closer, she felt something significant cross the threshold. Here, they would take steps toward what love truly meant, accepting imperfections, nurturing growth, and understanding the value of second chances. And as for you, Rachel, Emma's voice rang out, filled with invitation, you will always have a place with us, if you want it. All eyes fell on Rachel, ripples of emotions flowing through the room. Her heart clenched, the layers of a complicated past unfurling, yet it was a moment bursting with reassurances. Overwhelmed, Rachel stepped forward, tears glistening again, but this time triumphantly. Thank you, she whispered, allowing herself to be enveloped in their affection. And together they stood, woven into a tapestry of love and commitment, ready to face whatever lay ahead, not just as a family bound by blood, but as a community forged in understanding. As the room filled with laughter, Emma knew they had unlocked the door to an entirely new chapter, one they would write together. Don't let this moment pass. You need to subscribe now to catch every step of their journey. Leave a like now to feed that algorithm and spread the love. Comment your thoughts, reactions, and feelings about this heartfelt ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. Your support means everything.